Hey everyone! Welcome back to our channel where we break down powerful business books that can change the way you think about success. Today we're diving into The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber, one of the most eye-opening books ever written for small business owners. If you've ever dreamed of starting your own business or you're already running one, this book might completely change how you see entrepreneurship. So let's start with Chapter 1, The Entrepreneurial Myth. Michael Gerber begins the book with a shocking truth. Most small businesses fail. But here's the real question: why? It's not always because the idea was bad or the market was too tough. It's because of something he calls the E-Myth, the entrepreneurial myth. The E-Myth is the belief that most people who start a small business are entrepreneurs. But in reality, they're not. Most people start a business because they're good at something. Maybe you're a great baker, an excellent mechanic, or a talented designer. One day you think, why am I working for someone else? I could do this myself. And boom, that moment is what Gerber calls an entrepreneurial seizure. You suddenly decide to open your own bakery, your own garage, or your own design studio. You believe that being good at the technical work means you'll be good at running a business that does that work. But that's where the trap begins. Gerber says inside every small business owner, there are three personalities fighting for control: the entrepreneur, the visionary, the dreamer, the one with ideas; the manager, the planner, the organizer, the one who loves order; the technician, the doer, the one who loves doing the actual work. Here's the problem. Most people start their business as a technician. They think, if I can bake a cake, I can run a bakery. But baking cakes and running a bakery are completely different things. Running a business means you need systems, marketing, accounting, customer service, and management. But most technicians don't want to deal with all that. They just want to do the work they love. So they end up doing everything themselves, from baking, cleaning, serving, and ordering supplies to handling the bills. First it feels great. You're free. You're your own boss. But soon you're exhausted. You're working longer hours than ever, and the business starts controlling you instead of the other way around. That's when many small business owners hit the wall. Gerber says the technician believes, if you want something done right, you've got to do it yourself. Sounds familiar, right? But that thinking turns your dream into a nightmare. Because the more successful your business becomes, the more trapped you feel. You get more customers, more work, and more pressure. You stop doing what you love and start doing whatever's necessary. Soon there's no time for creativity, strategy, or rest. You can't take a vacation because the moment you're gone, everything falls apart. That's not freedom. That's just another job. Only this time your boss is your business. Gerber says this happens because most people never build their business like a system. They just build a job for themselves. So what's the solution? You have to start thinking like an entrepreneur, not just a technician. An entrepreneur doesn't just work in the business. They work on the business. Imagine your business as a machine. Your job is to design that machine so it can run smoothly, even without you being there all the time. The entrepreneur asks, how can I make this business work efficiently? How can I create systems so others can do the work? How can I grow beyond just myself? The goal isn't just to own a business. It's to create a business that can grow, scale, and eventually operate without you having to do everything. That's the difference between a struggling small business owner and a successful entrepreneur. Gerber shares that most business owners start their journey full of excitement. But when they realize how hard it is to do everything alone, the excitement turns into frustration. Some give up. Some keep pushing until burnout hits. And a very few, stop and ask, what if I built my business differently? Those few start focusing on systems, delegation, and structure. They stop being the worker and start becoming the architect. And that's when the magic begins. Because once you shift your mindset, your business can finally grow. And you can finally have the freedom you dreamed of when you started. So here's the truth Gerber wants every small business owner to understand. You don't need to work harder. You need to think smarter. You need to stop being just a technician and start being an entrepreneur. That's how you turn your business from a daily struggle into a growing system that works for you, not the other way around. But wait, if every business owner has these three personalities, the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician, how do you balance them? Which one should lead and which one should step back? We'll find out in the next chapter. The entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician. So stay tuned because that chapter might just show you the real secret behind building a business that actually lasts. In the last episode, we talked about the entrepreneurial myth, that most people who start businesses aren't true entrepreneurs, but technicians having an entrepreneurial seizure. They think being good at a skill means they can run a business doing that skill. But soon they realize, running a business is a completely different game. So today in Chapter 2, The Entrepreneur, the Manager, and the Technician, Michael Gerber breaks down the three personalities that live inside every business owner, and how they constantly fight for control. Let's dive in. Gerber says, inside every one of us who runs a business, there are three distinct characters. The entrepreneur, the dreamer, the visionary, the one who sees possibilities. The manager, the planner, the organizer, the one who loves structure and order. The technician, the doer, the worker, the one who loves getting things done. These three personalities are constantly fighting each other. Each one wants to take charge, but they all see the world in totally different ways. Let's meet them one by one. The entrepreneur lives in the future. They are the visionary, the dreamer who's always thinking of what's next. They don't see things as they are, they see things as they could be. The entrepreneur is full of ideas, always asking, what if we tried this? How can we grow bigger? What's the next big opportunity? But here's the thing. The entrepreneur gets bored easily. Routine kills their energy. They're not great at maintenance. They want creation, innovation, and movement. Without the entrepreneur, a business can't grow. But if the entrepreneur takes over completely, the business can become chaotic, always chasing new ideas without finishing old ones. Next, we meet the manager. If the entrepreneur lives in the future, the manager lives in the past. They love stability, structure, and control. The manager's favorite words are, let's organize this. Let's make a plan. Let's make sure everything is under control. They believe in order and predictability. The manager cleans up the mess that the entrepreneur leaves behind. If the entrepreneur builds castles in the sky, the manager builds the foundation underneath them. But there's a problem. The manager is afraid of change. They want things to stay the same. They hate risk. They want to protect what already exists. If the manager takes over completely, the business stops growing, becomes safe, stable, and stuck. And finally, the technician. This is the one who lives in the present moment. They love doing the work. For the technician, work equals life. They believe, if you want something done right, do it yourself. They don't care about dreams or plans, they just want to get the job done. The technician is practical and hardworking. They're the backbone of the business. But here's the problem. They think the business exists to give them work to do. They don't see the bigger picture. They don't think in systems or strategy, they just want to do today's job and move on. When a technician runs the business, everything depends on them. They can't step away, they can't delegate, and they can't scale because the business is them. Now imagine these three personalities, the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician, all living inside one person. It's chaos. The entrepreneur wants to take risks and dream big. The manager wants to plan, control, and keep things steady. The technician just wants to do the work and ignore the rest. Gerber says this internal conflict is the real reason most small businesses struggle. When the technician dominates, the business becomes just a job. When the manager dominates, the business becomes stiff and fearful. When the entrepreneur dominates, the business becomes unstable and confused. You need balance. A successful business owner learns how to let each personality play its part, but in the right order. The entrepreneur sets the vision. The manager builds the system. The technician runs the system. That's how a business grows without chaos. Gerber gives an example. Imagine a woman named Sarah who loves baking pies. One day she gets tired of working for someone else and starts her own bakery. In the beginning, she's happy, she's baking all day and customers love her pies. But soon she's working 12 to 14 hours a day. She's handling customers, bills, suppliers, and cleaning, all alone. She's exhausted. But because the technician inside her is running the show. The entrepreneur in her wants to expand. Maybe open a second location. The manager wants better organization, maybe hire some help. But the technician says, no one can bake like me. I'll just do it all myself. And that's how Sarah's dream business slowly becomes her biggest burden. Sound familiar? That's what happens when you don't balance the three roles. The big lesson from this chapter is this. If you want your business to grow and not burn you out, you need to think like an entrepreneur, organize like a manager, and work like a technician. Each has a role to play. The entrepreneur dreams it. The manager plans it. The technician does it. But the entrepreneur must always be the one in charge. guiding the direction and vision of the business. When you learn to balance all three, you stop being stuck in day-to-day work and start building something that can live without you. So here's what Michael Gerber wants you to remember from Chapter 2. The secret to success isn't doing more work. It's knowing which part of you should do what kind of work. Don't let your technician run your life. Let your entrepreneur lead. But wait, if we have these three personalities inside us, how do we actually use them to build a business that runs like a machine? One that can grow, scale, and give us freedom? That's exactly what the next chapter reveals. Infancy, the technician's phase. It's about the early stage of every business, when passion meets chaos. So stay tuned, because that's where most businesses either grow up or give up. In the last episode, we learned that inside every business owner, there are three personalities: the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician. And that most small business owners are trapped in the technician's world, always working in the business, never on it. Today in Chapter 3, Infancy, the technician's phase, Michael Gerber explains what happens in the early days of a new business, why it starts full of excitement, then quickly turns into stress and exhaustion. Let's dive in. Every new business starts with a burst of energy. The owner, usually a technician, is excited, passionate, and full of hope. They finally broke free from their old boss. Now they are in charge. Gerber calls this stage the infancy phase, the baby stage of the business. It's fresh, fragile, and 100% dependent on the person who started it. In this stage, the business is the owner. If the owner works, the business works. If the owner stops, the business stops. At first, that feels empowering. You finally have control. You're doing the work your way. But soon that freedom starts feeling like a trap. In the beginning, the technician is excited to do everything. Bake the cakes, fix the cars, design the logos, serve the customers, all by themselves. But as days turn into weeks and months, they realize something important. There's more to running a business than just doing the technical work. There's accounting, marketing, cleaning, inventory, customer complaints, taxes, and endless paperwork. The technician starts feeling tired. They thought owning a business would give them freedom. But now they're working longer hours than ever. Gerber says this is when most small business owners hit a wall. They're not running a business. They've just created a job for themselves. A job where they work for the toughest boss they've ever had. Their own business. The technician tells themselves, "It's fine. I can handle it. I'll just work harder." So they keep going, working longer hours, taking fewer breaks, doing everything personally. But here's the problem. A business can't grow if it depends entirely on one person. The technician thinks, "No one can do it as well as I can." But that thinking stops growth. They hire people to help, but then they can't let go of control. They micromanage, redo other people's work, or fire them because it's easier to just do it myself. Sound familiar? This is the biggest reason why so many businesses stay small or shut down early. They never move past infancy. Gerber describes how, during infancy, the business owner starts losing balance in life. Their friends and family notice they're always busy. Their weekends disappear. Their passion fades. Every decision, every mistake, every customer complaint, it's all on their shoulders. They feel trapped inside their own creation. It's ironic, they started the business for freedom, but now they're working harder for less peace. Gerber says most businesses fail here because the owner burns out. Not because they aren't skilled, but because they never learned to think like a business owner. They're still thinking like a worker. Eventually, the technician hits a breaking point. They start thinking, "I can't keep doing this. Something has to change." That's the turning point. If they quit, the business dies. If they learn and grow, the business enters its next stage, adolescence. But before they can move forward, they must understand one key idea. Your business and your job are not the same thing. A business is supposed to give you life, not take it away. You should create opportunities, not drain your energy. The moment the owner realizes this, that they can't do everything alone, that's when the real journey begins. Gerber says there are only 3 ways an owner can escape the infancy phase. Keycap 1: Go back to working for someone else. Many people do this. They close the business and return to employment. They feel relieved but also defeated. Keycap 2: Keep struggling forever. Some never quit, but they never grow. They stay stuck, overworked, underpaid, and exhausted for years. Keycap 3: Grow up and become an entrepreneur. This is the rarest path and the most powerful one. It means learning to let go, to delegate, and to build systems that make the business run smoothly without you doing everything. That's when your business finally begins to mature. So, what does Michael Gerber want us to learn from the infancy phase? He wants us to understand that a business must grow beyond the owner's hands. You can't build freedom by doing everything yourself. You build freedom by designing a system that allows others to deliver the same quality and experience, without your constant presence. Gerber's message is simple but deep. Your business is not your life. It's a system to support your life. Until you learn to separate the two, you'll always feel stuck, no matter how talented you are. So here's the takeaway from Chapter 3. The infancy phase is all about you, your energy, your skill, your passion. But it can't last forever. If you want to build a business that survives and grows, you need to stop being just the technician and start thinking like an entrepreneur. That's how you move from survival to success. But here's the big question. Once you realize you can't do everything alone, what's next? How do you actually let go and help your business grow without losing control? That's exactly what we'll explore in the next chapter. Adolescence, getting some help. Because that's when your business starts to grow up. And that's when new challenges begin. So stay tuned. The next chapter could completely change how you build your dream business. In the last episode, we talked about infancy, the technician's phase, where the business owner tries to do everything alone until burnout hits. Today in Chapter 4, Adolescence, getting some help, Michael Gerber explains what happens when a business starts to grow, and why this stage is both exciting and dangerous. Let's jump in. After struggling through the early days, most small business owners eventually say, "I can't keep doing all this alone. I need help." So they hire their first employee. This is the start of adolescence, the second stage of every small business. It's a stage filled with hope and chaos. The owner feels relieved at first. Someone else is finally helping. Maybe it's an assistant, a part-timer, or a friend who can handle small tasks. But Gerber warns, this is where the real test begins. Because most owners don't know how to delegate the right way. The owner thinks hiring someone will solve everything. They say things like, "Finally, I can focus on the important stuff." But instead of creating a system for that new person to follow, the owner just throws tasks at them. Soon things start going wrong. The employee makes mistakes, the customers complain, and the owner gets frustrated. So what happens next? The technician inside the owner takes over again. They say, "Forget it. I'll just do it myself." Sound familiar? That's what Gerber calls management by abdication instead of management by delegation. Let's break that down. Delegation means training someone properly, giving them clear systems, and checking their progress until they can do the job independently. Abdication means throwing the job at someone and walking away, assuming they'll just figure it out. Most small business owners abdicate, not delegate. They want freedom but don't want to take the time to create a system that allows others to do the job right. And when the employee messes up, they think, "See, no one can do it like me." So they fire the person, go back to doing everything themselves, and end up right back in the technician's trap. If the owner somehow keeps going and hires more people, the business grows, but without structure. Now there's more work, more confusion, and more stress. Everyone is busy, but no one is clear about who's responsible for what. The owner spends all day fixing problems, answering questions, and putting out fires. Looks like growth, but it's actually chaotic growth. Gerber says it's like a teenager growing too fast, full of energy but lacking direction. That's why he calls this stage adolescence. In this phase, the business owner faces a deep internal struggle. They started as a technician, became an owner, and now they're trying to act like a manager. But it feels uncomfortable. They miss the simple days when it was just them doing the work. Now they have to lead people, manage cash flow, and think about systems, things they never learned before. It's like being a parent to a growing child. Exciting but also exhausting. Many owners can't handle it, so they either shrink the business back down to something small and manageable, or push forward into maturity by learning how to create structure and systems. That choice determines whether the business survives or crashes. Here's the toughest part of adolescence: letting go of control. The owner has to trust others. But trusting doesn't mean blindly letting go. It means building a clear system that others can follow. Gerber says, a mature business isn't people-dependent, it's system-dependent. The goal is to build your business so it can work without you being there all the time. That's how real freedom begins. If your business collapses when you step away, then you don't own a business. you own a job. Most businesses fail during adolescence because they don't have clear systems or leadership. Gerber explains 3 common endings for a business stuck in this stage. Keycap 1: The founder's retreat. The owner gets overwhelmed and shrinks the business back to a one-person operation. Keycap 2: The business death spiral. The owner keeps hiring people without proper training, chaos increases and the business collapses. Keycap 3: The transformation. The owner steps up, learns to create systems, trains people effectively and starts thinking strategically. Only the third path leads to maturity and long-term success. If the owner chooses to grow, they begin to see the business differently. They realize they can't rely on passion alone. They need structure. They start asking questions like, how can I make this work without me doing everything? How can I create a repeatable system anyone can follow? This is the mindset shift from working in the business to working on the business. It's the moment when the entrepreneur finally starts to lead. So what's the lesson from chapter 4? Growth brings chaos unless you build systems. Hiring people isn't enough. You need to train them, empower them, and create a structure that keeps the business consistent. Michael Gerber says, your business must be built around systems, not around you. When you do that, your business stops being a job and starts becoming a real company. But here's the big question. Systems are the key to freedom. How do you design them from scratch? How do you build a business model that runs smoothly, gives great results, and doesn't depend on you being there every minute? That's exactly what the next chapter reveals. Beyond the comfort zone. It's the moment when your business either grows into maturity or falls apart completely. So stay tuned, because the next chapter shows how to turn your chaos into a real, scalable business. In the last episode, we talked about adolescence, getting some help where business owners start hiring people and face the chaos of growth. Today in chapter 5, Beyond the Comfort Zone, Michael Gerber takes us to the turning point, the moment when your business starts to outgrow you. This chapter is about fear, growth, and the make or break decision every entrepreneur must face. Let's jump in. In the beginning, your business is small, cozy, and familiar. You know every customer by name. You handle every problem personally. But one day you realize, things are changing. More customers are coming. The phone rings non-stop. Employees have questions every minute. And suddenly what used to feel comfortable now feels overwhelming. Michael Gerber calls this moment beyond the comfort zone. It's when your business starts to grow faster than you can handle. And you have 2 choices. Backhand index pointing right, grow with it, or backhand index pointing right, pull back to safety. Most people choose safety. But safety often means staying small. Forever. When your business grows, you lose control. Or at least it feels that way. The technician inside you screams, no one can do it as well as I can. So you try to keep control. Checking every detail, fixing every mistake, approving every decision. But the harder you try to control everything, the more out of control things become. Employees get frustrated because they can't make decisions. Customers get upset because things take longer. And you, the owner, feel trapped again, working harder, sleeping less, and constantly putting out fires. Feels like growth is destroying everything you built. But here's the truth. It's not growth that's the problem. It's your need for control. This stage is filled with fear. The fear of letting go. The fear of trusting others. The fear of losing quality. And above all, the fear of failure. Gerber says this is when business owners begin to doubt themselves. What if my business grows too big and I can't handle it? What if it fails and I lose everything? So they pull back. They stop hiring. They stop marketing. They start playing small again. And just like that, their growth dies. The business stops evolving, not because it couldn't but because the owner couldn't. Gerber puts it simply, your business can only grow to the limit of your own comfort zone. If you don't grow as a person, your business can't grow either. It's not about skills, it's about mindset. The technician wants comfort. The entrepreneur wants growth. And the manager wants control. To move forward, the entrepreneur inside you must take charge. You must accept that discomfort is part of progress. You can't expand your business and stay in your comfort zone at the same time. Growth requires you to let go, not of quality but of the belief that you have to do everything yourself. This is the moment Gerber wants you to wake up. He says, your job is not to do the work. It's to build a system that does the work. That means you have to step away from daily chaos and start thinking like an architect. Ask yourself, how can I design a process that ensures quality every time? How can I build a system that anyone can follow? even without me there? How can I make the business work for me instead of me working for it? Once you start asking these questions, your entire business mindset shifts. You stop being a worker and start becoming a creator. Letting go isn't easy. You might hire people who make mistakes. You might lose a few customers. You might even feel disconnected from your baby. But that's the price of growth. Every mature business owner has to go through this emotional pain. Gerber compares it to raising a child. At some point, you have to let your child go out into the world. If you hold on too tight, they'll never grow. The same goes for your business. Once you reach this stage, there are two paths in front of you. Keycap 1, retreat. Go back to what's comfortable. Stay small, do all the work yourself, and keep control. You'll feel safe but stuck. Keycap 2, advance. Face the discomfort. Build systems, trust others, and focus on growth. You'll feel scared but free. Gerber says the difference between struggling business owners and successful entrepreneurs is simple. Successful entrepreneurs are willing to live beyond their comfort zone. That's where the transformation happens. At this stage, your business is no longer a child. It's becoming a young adult. It doesn't need you to do everything. It needs you to guide everything. Your job now is to design a model, a structure, that keeps everything working smoothly without your daily involvement. That's what Chapter 6 is all about. The maturity phase, and the turnkey revolution. But before we go there, remember this. Growth feels scary because it challenges who you are. But if you can push through that fear, you'll discover what real freedom in business actually feels like. So here's the big message from Chapter 5. Your comfort zone is your cage. Growth begins the moment you step outside it. To grow your business, you must grow yourself. To free your time, you must free your mind. You don't need to control everything. You need to build systems that control everything for you. That's how great businesses and great entrepreneurs are born. But here's the million-dollar question. If you're finally ready to step beyond your comfort zone, how do you actually design a business that runs like a well-oiled machine even when you're not there? That's what we'll uncover in the next chapter. Maturity and the turnkey revolution. Because that's where your business stops surviving and starts thriving. In the last chapter, we talked about stepping beyond your comfort zone, the scary but necessary step that separates struggling small business owners from true entrepreneurs. And now, Michael Gerber takes us deeper into the journey, into the stage called maturity, where your business finally stops being a job and starts becoming a machine that works for you. This chapter is all about creating that turnkey system, a business so well designed that it can run smoothly even when you're not there. Sounds like freedom, right? Let's see how it's actually built. Most people think maturity means a business has been around for a long time. But Gerber says that's not true. A business can be young in years and mature in vision. Maturity isn't about time. It's about thinking ahead. When most small business owners start out, they're stuck in the technician's mindset, doing the work, fixing problems, chasing customers. But the mature entrepreneur does something different. They imagine what their business should look like when it's finished. It's like building a house. You wouldn't start hammering nails without a blueprint, right? But that's exactly what most business owners do. They start building without knowing what the finished business should look like. That's why Gerber says maturity begins with the end in mind. Now comes Gerber's big idea, the turnkey revolution. He asks, what if you built your business like a franchise, even if you never planned to franchise it? Think about McDonald's for a second. No matter where you go, New York, Tokyo, or Delhi, the fries taste the same. The service feels the same. The system works. Every single time. That's not luck. That's a prototype. A perfect model that can be replicated again and again. Gerber says every small business should be built like that. Not necessarily to sell franchises, but to make the business system dependent, not people dependent. Let's be real. Most small businesses fail because everything depends on you. If you're sick, business stops. If you go on vacation, chaos begins. If you leave, the whole thing collapses. That's not a business. That's a job wearing a disguise. But when you build systems, for how work is done, for how customers are treated, for how money flows, you create consistency, you create predictability, and most importantly, you create freedom. Because now, your business runs on rules, not your random decisions. The mature entrepreneur doesn't ask, how can I make more money today? They ask, how can I design my business so it works perfectly, every day? That's the franchise mindset. Imagine your business as a prototype, A model that can be duplicated 1,000 times. What would that require? Clear systems, defined roles, consistent customer experience. That's the magic of McDonald's, Starbucks, and Disney. They all run on systems, not superstars. Even if one employee leaves, the system stays strong. Gerber says, the system runs the business. The people run the system. That's the true secret of business maturity. Customers don't want surprises. They want reliability. When they walk into your business, they expect the same feeling, the same quality, the same confidence every single time. That predictability builds trust. And trust builds loyalty. Gerber calls this the franchise prototype standard. Everything, from how you answer the phone to how you deliver your product, should be written down, tested, and repeatable. Because once you can guarantee the same result every time, you don't just have a business. You have a brand. Imagine this. You wake up one day and your business runs smoothly without you being there. Orders are fulfilled, customers are happy, employees know what to do, all without your constant supervision. That's not a fantasy, that's what systems do. You've shifted from being a technician to being a creator. From doing the work to designing how the work gets done. That's when your business becomes scalable. That's when it can grow without chaos. That's when you become truly free. Gerber says this transformation starts with one question. How would I build this business if I wanted to replicate it 5,000 times? Once you think that way, everything changes. You stop guessing and start documenting. You stop doing everything yourself and start creating systems others can follow. That's how your small business becomes a big idea. One that can live and grow without depending on your daily hustle. Here's the key takeaway from Chapter 6. Don't build a business to work in. Build a business to work without you. Because true success isn't about working harder. It's about designing smarter. When your business becomes a prototype, your life becomes peaceful. And when you finally build systems that work, you stop being the system. That's the power of the turnkey revolution. But wait, if a business should be built like a perfect model, how do you actually create that model from scratch? How do you design your own franchise prototype, step by step? That's exactly what Gerber reveals next, in Chapter 7. The Turnkey Revolution, a new view of business development. And trust me, that's where the real transformation begins. In the last episode, we talked about the maturity phase, where your business becomes a system that works for you instead of the other way around. And we discovered Michael Gerber's big idea, the franchise prototype, a model for building a business that runs perfectly even when you're not there. But here's the real question. How do you actually build that kind of business? That's what Chapter 7 is all about. The Turnkey Revolution, where you transform your everyday business into a well-oiled, scalable, freedom-giving machine. Let's dive in. Gerber begins by explaining how the franchise boom changed the business world. Think about it, McDonald's, Subway, Starbucks, Domino's, they all grew because of one thing: systems. They didn't rely on super talented employees or lucky breaks. They relied on repeatable processes that anyone could follow. That's the turnkey revolution. You turn the key, and your business starts running like a perfectly tuned engine, no matter who is behind the counter. It's not about food or coffee or shoes. It's about the system that delivers the same result every single time. And that's exactly what you must create in your business. Now here's where most small business owners go wrong. They think success means working harder. But Gerber says, it's about working on your business, not in it. He calls this shift the entrepreneurial perspective. While the technician asks, how do I get this job done? The entrepreneur asks, how can I design a system so anyone can get this job done? That's the heart of the turnkey revolution. You stop being a worker and start being an architect, the designer of a business that can run smoothly, predictably, and profitably without your constant presence. Gerber breaks this idea down into a simple formula. Innovation plus quantification plus orchestration equals success. Let's unpack that. Innovation means finding a better way to do things. Doesn't have to be huge or expensive. Even a small improvement, like greeting customers with the same warm tone, can make your business stand out. Quantification means measuring everything. You can't improve what you don't track. Count how many calls lead to sales, how long each service takes, how satisfied your customers are. Orchestration means once you find what works, you make it standard. You train everyone to do it the same way, every time. That's how you create predictable excellence, the kind customers fall in love with. Gerber says your first business should be treated as a model, not just a business. Imagine your business as a living laboratory, a place where you test, measure, and perfect every process. Every detail, from how you answer the phone to how you deliver your product, should be documented and repeatable. That way, if someone new joins, they can follow the system and deliver the same amazing experience. That's how your business becomes replicable. And once it's replicable, you can scale it, franchise it, or even sell it one day for massive value. The beauty of the turnkey revolution is that it doesn't rely on genius ideas. It relies on simple, smart, consistent systems. Gerber says, the true product of a business is not what it sells, it's how it operates. Think about that. McDonald's doesn't just sell burgers. Its real product is its system, the process that makes sure every burger tastes exactly the same every single time. When your system becomes that strong, you can hire ordinary people and get extraordinary results. Because the excellence doesn't come from people, it comes from the system. Here's the real turning point. To build a turnkey business, you have to start thinking like an engineer of experience. Ask yourself, how should my customers feel every time they interact with my business? How should my employees act, speak, and respond? How should my work be done, step by step, so that it's always consistent? Once you define this, you can build systems around it. Training manuals, checklists, scripts, performance measures, all designed to deliver excellence automatically. That's what Gerber means when he says, build your business as though it were going to be the prototype for 5,000 more just like it. At first, this may sound like a lot of structure. But here's the secret. Structure brings freedom. When everything in your business runs on systems, you no longer have to micromanage. You can finally focus on growth, innovation, and vision. You stop being the worker and become the creator of the experience. That's when business stops being a burden and starts becoming a legacy. So here's the golden message from Chapter 7. Don't just run your business. Engineer it. Innovation keeps it alive. Quantification keeps it smart. Orchestration keeps it consistent. That's how ordinary businesses become extraordinary brands. That's the turnkey revolution. But now that you understand what the turnkey model is, how do you actually apply it, step by step, inside your business? How do you design the systems, roles, and structure that make your business unstoppable? That's what we'll explore next in Chapter 8, the business development process, building the perfect model. Trust me, that's where ideas turn into action. In the last chapter, we uncovered the secret behind the turnkey revolution, the power of systems that make a business run like clockwork. Now in Chapter 8, Michael Gerber gives us the blueprint for actually building that kind of business. He calls it the business development process, the step-by-step plan for turning your small, chaotic operation into a smooth, profitable, and scalable machine. Let's break it down, because this chapter is where the real transformation begins. Gerber starts with a bold statement. The purpose of your life is not to serve your business. The purpose of your business is to serve your life. Let that sink in. Your business should give you freedom, not burnout. It should be designed to run on its own, smoothly, predictably, profitably. That's the goal of the business development process. To build a system that works perfectly, even when you're not there. Gerber lays out a simple but powerful 3-step process to achieve this. Keycap 1: Innovation. Keycap 2: Quantification. Keycap 3: Orchestration. You might remember these from the previous chapter. But now we'll see how to use them in your daily business life. Innovation isn't about inventing something new or expensive. It's about finding a better, simpler, more effective way to do everyday things. Gerber says, innovation is the heart of every great business. But it's not creativity for fun. It's creativity that serves a purpose. Ask yourself, how can I make my customer's experience smoother? How can I make this task easier or faster? How can I surprise my clients with consistency and care? Example, when McDonald's invented the speedy service system, they didn't make fancier food. They made faster food. That's innovation in action. Small improvements, repeated daily, create massive results over time. Once you innovate, you have to measure the results. Gerber says, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Don't guess. Track numbers. How many customers visit? What's your conversion rate? How long does each process take? What's your average profit per transaction? These numbers are like a business health check. They tell you what's working and what's not. Without quantification, you're just flying blind. But with it, you can steer your business with confidence. Now comes the magic step: orchestration. It means taking what works and making sure everyone does it the same way every time. No guessing. No personal style variations. No chaos. Just predictable, reliable performance. Gerber says, orchestration is the elimination of discretion or choice at the operating level of your business. It might sound strict, but it's the secret behind excellence. When every part of your business runs on clear, tested procedures, you deliver the same high-quality experience again and again. That's what customers trust. That's what builds your brand. Here's the best part: this process never stops. Once you orchestrate a system, you go back to innovation again. Find a better way, test it, measure it, and standardize it. It's a continuous loop. Light bulb, innovate, bar chart, quantify, musical note, orchestrate, repeat. Each time you go through the cycle, your business gets sharper, faster, and more profitable. It's how great companies evolve, not by luck but by design. So where do you fit in this picture? Gerber says your real job as a business owner is no longer to do the work. Your job is to build the system that does the work. That means stepping out of daily chaos and focusing on white heavy checkmark designing processes, white heavy checkmark training people, white heavy checkmark measuring results, white heavy checkmark refining systems. You become the architect, not the laborer. That's when you finally gain control, not by working more but by designing smarter. When you follow the business development process, something amazing happens. Your business becomes predictable. Your team becomes confident. Your customers become loyal. And you finally become free. You're no longer trapped inside your business. You're leading it from above, guiding its evolution, watching it grow on autopilot. That's the dream every entrepreneur starts with. And this process is how you make it real. Here's the big takeaway from Chapter 8. Your business is a product of your thinking. If you want a better business, you must first become a better designer. Innovation gives it life. Quantification gives it intelligence. Orchestration gives it power. Together, they turn your small business into a masterpiece. But here's the next challenge. Now that you understand the process, how do you actually apply it to each part of your business? From marketing to operations to management. How do you build systems for every single function? That's what we'll explore next in Chapter 9, Your Business Development Program, the 7 essential steps to building a world-class company. And trust me, that's where the blueprint turns into reality. In the last episode, we explored the business development process, where we learned how to innovate, measure, and orchestrate your way to a business that runs smoothly and profitably. But here's the big question every entrepreneur asks next. Okay, but how do I actually apply this in real life? That's exactly what Chapter 9 is about. Michael Gerber now gives us the 7 essential steps, a complete roadmap to build your dream business step by step. If you're serious about turning your small business into a system that works for you, not against you, this is the chapter you can't skip. Gerber calls this part your business development program. It's a 7-step guide that helps you design, test, and perfect your business model. The goal? To build what he calls a franchise prototype. A business that runs with precision, consistency, and profit, even without your constant supervision. Let's break down these 7 powerful steps. Before you build your business, you must know why you're building it. Gerber says, your business is a means to an end. But what is that end? Your primary aim isn't about profit or sales. It's about your life. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to live? How much time do I want for family, freedom, or travel? What kind of impact do I want to make? Your business should serve that vision, not the other way around. If you don't know where you're going, no system will save you. So step 1 is about defining your purpose, your why. Now that you know what you want from life, it's time to design your business to make it happen. Your strategic objective is the clear, measurable plan for your business. It answers questions like, what kind of business are we building? What are our financial goals? What will success look like when we're done? It's like your business's North Star. Gerber says, clarity is power. Without it, your business has no direction. When you know your destination, every decision becomes easier. Here's where things get practical. Even if you're a one-person business right now, Gerber wants you to design an organization chart. Yep, even if your name is in every box. But because you're creating a structure for the future. Define the key roles: marketing manager, operations manager, financial manager, customer service manager, SPO. Then write down what each role is responsible for. This is the foundation for scaling, so one day you can hire people to fill those boxes. That's how you move from doing everything yourself to managing a system. Now that you've defined roles, how do you manage people and processes effectively? Gerber says great management isn't about control. It's about clarity, measurement, and accountability. Create systems that make expectations clear. Give your team feedback, data, and goals. Train them with checklists and scripts so they know exactly what success looks like. In short, manage the system, not the people. That's how consistency becomes your superpower. This step is all about your team, but with a twist. Gerber says, don't look for extraordinary people. Create extraordinary systems. Your goal isn't to find superheroes. It's to design a business so well that ordinary people can deliver extraordinary results. Build training programs that teach your systems clearly. Reward consistency, not chaos. And hire people who fit your company's culture and purpose, not just the job description. When people feel part of something meaningful, they'll perform like owners. Now let's talk about customers, the heartbeat of your business. Gerber says most business owners make a big mistake. They market to everyone. But successful businesses have a clear target audience. They know exactly who they're talking to. Ask yourself, who is my ideal customer? What problem are they really trying to solve? How does my product or service make them feel? Then design your message, your brand, and your customer journey around that. Your marketing should feel like a conversation, not a sales pitch. Because when customers feel understood, they stay loyal. This is where it all comes together, the system strategy. Gerber says there are 3 kinds of systems every business must have. Keycap 1 hard systems, the physical tools, equipment, technology, materials. Keycap 2 soft systems, the human side, training, communication, service. Keycap 3 information systems, the tracking side, data, reports, feedback. These 3 systems form the engine of your business. Together they ensure that everything runs predictably and efficiently, even when you're not there. This is what transforms a fragile business into a scalable empire. When you combine all 7 steps, something amazing happens. Your business stops being a chaotic hustle and becomes a living, breathing system that grows, adapts, and thrives. Gerber says, the business that looks orderly on the outside is the one that's disciplined on the inside. Each step, from your purpose to your people to your systems, is a piece of a beautiful machine. When all parts move in sync, success becomes inevitable. So here's the big takeaway from Chapter 9. A world-class business isn't built by chance. It's built by design, one system, one step at a time. Start with your life vision. Then build your business to match it. And never stop improving your systems. That's how you build a business that not only makes money, but gives you freedom, peace, and purpose. But wait, once you've built this beautiful system, how do you keep it alive? How do you make sure your vision, culture, and systems stay strong as your business grows, and doesn't fall apart as you scale? That's what we'll uncover in Chapter 10, your business development plan, keeping the dream alive. Because success isn't just about building it, it's about sustaining it. In the last episode, we discovered the 7 essential steps that help you build a business that runs like a well-oiled machine. From defining your primary aim to creating powerful systems that work for you. But here's the real test. Once you've built this dream business, how do you keep it alive? How do you make sure your passion doesn't fade, your systems don't break, and your team doesn't lose direction as the company grows? That's exactly what Michael Gerber reveals in this final chapter. Most business owners think success means finally making it. But Gerber flips that mindset completely. He says, the true goal isn't to finish your business, it's to keep it growing. Your business is not a one-time project. It's a living organism, and just like your body, it needs regular care, checkups, and adjustments. That means constantly revisiting your goals, improving your systems, and staying connected to your why. Because the moment you stop growing, your business starts dying. So the question is, are you still nurturing the dream that started it all? Gerber says, your business is a reflection of you. If you want it to grow, you must grow first. This chapter is like a wake-up call for every entrepreneur who got comfortable after success. Your business systems, your team, and your vision all need continuous renewal. Ask yourself every few months, does my business still align with my life vision? Are my systems still working efficiently? Is my team still motivated by the same purpose? If not, it's time to evolve. Because what worked for a business of 10 people might break when you reach 100. The secret? Keep refining, keep reimagining, keep reinventing. Gerber explains that every business goes through 3 natural phases, and how you handle them determines your long-term success. Let's break them down. Keycap 1: Infancy, the technician's phase. This is where you do everything, from sales to delivery to customer service. It's all hustle, chaos, and coffee. You're working in your business, not on it. Keycap 2: Adolescence, the manager's phase. Here you start hiring people and creating systems. You delegate, you manage, and you start building a team. But this phase is risky because many owners lose control or forget their vision. Keycap 3: Maturity, the entrepreneur's phase. Now your business runs smoothly, your systems are strong, and your team is aligned. You've shifted from owner-operator to visionary leader. Your focus now isn't survival. It's scalability, innovation, and legacy. Gerber says, a mature business knows what it's doing, why it's doing it, and how to keep doing it profitably. And that's what Chapter 10 helps you achieve. To keep your business alive, you must reconnect with 3 driving forces. Keycap 1: The dream, the ultimate picture of what you want to create. This is your why. It gives meaning to your work. Keycap 2: The vision, the clear path to achieve that dream. It's how you translate your big idea into goals, systems, and daily action. Keycap 3: The mission, the practical plan that guides every decision in your company. It's your promise to your customers, your team, and yourself. Together, these 3 form your business's heartbeat. They give direction when things get confusing and energy when things get tough. When you feel stuck, go back to your dream, vision, and mission, and you'll find your way again. Gerber leaves us with one powerful truth. The entrepreneur's job never ends. You don't just create a business, you create a culture. A culture of excellence, learning, and innovation. You must stay curious, keep asking, how can we do this better? How can we serve customers more meaningfully? How can we make our systems even smoother? Because in the end, your business is not a machine you build once. It's a living ecosystem you lead, love, and grow continuously. Here's the beautiful irony. When you finally build systems so good that your business runs without you, that's when you're free to dream again. Free to create new ventures. Free to mentor others. Free to live the life you originally started this journey for. That's the ultimate reward of mastering the E-Myth Revisited. Your business serves your life, not the other way around. So here's the big takeaway from Chapter 10. A business that lasts isn't built by accident. It's built by leaders who never stop learning, improving, and dreaming. Your systems will evolve. Your people will grow. And your business will continue to live, as long as you keep the dream alive. So now that we've finished the E-Myth Revisited, you've learned how to build a system, scale it, and keep it alive. But here's the next big question. What happens when you want to turn your system into true wealth? Into assets that pay you even when you're not working? In our next book breakdown, we'll dive into that. How to turn your business systems into assets that pay you forever. Stay tuned, because that's where real financial freedom begins.